Okay, now this unit is going to essentially cover how we got to be where we are today, the superpower we are today. I have not decided how to put this picture together fully yet. What it's going to focus on, it's going to see how we kind of expand, how we become who we are today. And it kind of, I'm looking at this unit, I'm thinking of this quote. If you're not first, you're last. If you're not growing, you're dying. Okay? We're looking at the American Empire. It's going to look to expand. We're going to talk about the American progress, this whole manifest destiny. That America had this vision, starting in the mid-1800s, to go from sea to shining sea. After we take the land from the Mexicans, after the Mexican War, we're looking at America is going to eventually get to the coast. Yes. This is a new slideshow. I have not posted it yet because I'm going to ask you to do something. I'm going to post it. I will post it today. Okay. Well, you're looking here. Once we get to that Pacific coast, once we get to the California, once we actually get there, we have to ask a question. Do we stop? Do we just consolidate our gains here? Or do we expand out across the ocean? Okay? We know what we're going to decide to do. But when we do it, okay, we're going to have to look at challenging something. And I'll actually just share it right now. There is a Google Doc I want you to read on Classroom. It's a farewell address. Okay, I want you to read it. I think I may have actually exposed this to you guys before, whenever you took me. Some of you, I don't know if I did it last year or not. We're looking at actually George Washington's farewell address. And I'll put this on Google Classroom, this slideshow. I want you to read it. We're going to have some conversation here in a minute. And I've just taken out some highlights of it. It's much longer than this. Yep, I just want you to read it. Okay. Brooklyn. And you guys can see, looking up here real quick, it is much, 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 much longer than that. And again, I pulled out some things I think are relevant to us. What jumps out at us looking at Washington's farewell address, 1796, he gives us. What jumps out at us? Okay, we're looking at a mindset of America, isolations. Do you guys agree with Tanner he's an isolationist? I think you can make the argument, yeah, based off what you guys just read, we can make that argument. He is somebody who is considered by some historians as somebody who wants to be isolationist. What else jumps out at us? What else jumps out at us? Jackson, what jumps out at you?
He says specifically that our policy is to steer clear of alliances with other countries.
Stay away from permanent alliances. Okay. What else does he say? What else does he say here, Cam? What else is he saying here? What else was a big takeaway for you? I'll come back to you. Call? Okay. So he's really warning us what is a very dangerous continent? Europe. Okay, he's kind of saying Europe is a dangerous, dangerous continent. Don't get sucked into their affairs. Okay, which goes back to Tanner's point. Maybe he's an isolationist. Andrew.
I think at one point he says if we remain one people under an efficient government, fear is not far off when we may find material injury from external influence. So he's saying like we need to be one. Our government needs to be efficient. And I know Washington he didn't want a party system. He didn't want a Democrats or Republicans, which as we know that didn't last too long. But he said that we need to be one people. I think that speaks to that the one people aspect, to not separate ourselves, not divide on policies, but come to one agreement, one set of mind. That way we can rid ourselves of the external annoyance of Europe and other countries.
Good. I like that. That's a good point. Yeah, we're one people. We're unified. Cam, go ahead.
We may safely trust to temporary alliances for extraordinary emergencies.
Okay. Only get involved in alliances, okay, if they're going to benefit us in the long run. Okay? Make sure. Aubrey, something else.
That we're at an advantage because we're not connected to everyone else.
He's arguing how geography plays a role in history. Okay? We have a advantage that Europe doesn't have, that these countries who had the power around 1800s don't have. Okay? So he's arguing, use this to our advantage. Don't get sucked into this. Now, we're looking at something that has been taught to Americans throughout the 1800s. You're going to see America really expand as an empire by all standards of conquest, 1898. Okay? But you're going to need to understand, what I want you guys to understand, us expanding as an empire, you could interpret goes against the wishes of our founding father, the late George Washington. Okay? I want you guys to make sure we understand that this isn't natural to us when we start to expand. This is a big question. How far do we go? Okay? And when we do decide to take that course, there's going to be some growing pains. There's going to be examples of us messing up. You guys are going to see that in the Philippines. Okay? There's going to be some examples of us having some success with it. But what we can understand here is we're going to have to have an empire, we're going to have to wrestle it away from a dying empire. Okay? In Spain. Spain had become very rich and prosperous thanks to Columbus's exploration. Okay? Spain became very, very wealthy, very powerful, but their time is on a decline. Okay, and we have a young power coming in to take its seat at the table. Okay, we're going to force our way in there. Now, we also see the American Empire. It's going to, when we see this growth in the early 19th century, late 19th century, early 20th century, we need to make sure we're aware. We're really going to get directly involved in what happens in the Western Hemisphere. We're going to overthrow governments. We're going to help lead assassinations. And this is going to help shape current opinions of Americans from the Western Hemisphere, especially Latin America. So we need to make sure we understand that America, during this growth, during this conquest, we are going to step on some people's toes. but we're using Washington's words of wisdom. Do things that benefit us. Okay? We're going to do it to benefit America. That's our game. Okay? There's no sugarcoating. Now, one thing I want you guys to make sure you're aware of, though, this isn't a European kind of conquest system of America that we're going to see. It's a little different. We're not all about territory. What drives Americans to go to Asia? Money. We want money. We want things. We want to find ways. We find conquest not through conquering lands all the time. We find them through economics. Okay, we use economics to impose our will. Okay, this is Americans' kind of system. We're different. It's not so offensive to some people. It's not up in your face as much. It's not kill or be killed. Okay, it's a little different. It's a little more subtle. And also, we're going to see America growing an empire is going to get sucked into going against Washington. We're going to get sucked into a war in 1940. I should say 1918. War that starts in 1940. But the consequences of this will shape where we sit today on that pedestal of superpower. Okay? So we're looking at the birth of the, I don't want to say, because you can argue anything's a birth. You guys, historians go back and argue different things. Magna Carta played a huge role in America today. You can make that argument, okay? Something happened centuries ago. Or we can focus, where we're going to focus our magnifying glass is around the late 19th century, early 20th century of America really expanding across the seas now, okay? Growing and having this empire. Now, this gets us to, I think, probably, like I said, that Prohibition one was new to me. I had never listened to it. I thought that was awesome. I got that podcast, Prohibition. I have not finished it yet. Like I said, I'm going to jump back on there. We may finish that here. I may even assign that over break. We'll see. But we're looking here at this guy. This is probably my favorite history podcast. This guy does a fantastic job of storytelling. You're either going to love this guy or you're going to hate him just by his voice. He does come off a little smug sometimes, but he knows his content, and he puts it in very story-based. And he puts you on the ground. I think, good historians do. He doesn't call himself a historian. He calls himself a fan of history, but he is well-versed. He's read a lot of stuff, you can tell. He has a team of people reading stuff that you can tell are giving him information. But his name's Dan Carlin. He writes about World War I, so we're going to come back to this guy. We'll focus just on America's involvement in World War I. But we're looking at America at the turn of the 20th century. You guys are looking at Europeans, their view of America. Okay, the American peril. That America's expanding. And eventually, they may just conquer all of us. Okay, we kind of look at China as a threat. Okay, look at we're the superpower. China's on the next one down on the rung of the ladder. We kind of feel threatened by them naturally. That competition between these two. Okay, and we kind of worry about China's economics eventually taking over America's economic power and political power, and then eventually military power. We need to make sure we understand this is what Europeans feel like with America in the early 1900s. America's coming, okay? And they're going to come on our shores, and they're going to be more powerful than us. And you see the baton getting passed here on the track and field, okay? You do see it getting passed out here around the track. So this is what this is really focused on. Now, do you guys want me to just have you draw numbers and just number you off? I don't just draw. You guys want a little control of your destiny? Okay, so we're going to draw numbers. And I have on here, if you look at the bottom of that I don't have it on there, I have it on yours here. Here's what we're going to do. 6 hours and 40 minutes. It's on YouTube. By the way, YouTube, if you go and use your computer, if you use your app on your phone, you won't be able to do this. But you can speed up this.
Yeah.
You can't do it on the app, though.
Yeah.
You can't do it now?
Yeah.
You used to not be able to do it. I used to not be able to do
A
it.
while ago, I can't remember how many.
Last year we couldn't do it in that, because I tried to do it on that book, Farewell to Arms. I tried to do it, and I couldn't do it on my app, so I was listening on the way up to Kent. Good. I'm glad they changed it. Okay, but you can speed up a little bit. Even if you speed up just a quarter, I think you can go a quarter. Yeah, you're still knocking off, not going to significant time. You're looking at what, quarter, 15, half an hour, yeah, over half an hour. So, you shed that instead of 2.5, you're at 2, or an hour and 55 or hour and 50. Okay, so on this CCP here, if you're a number 1, you're going to listen to the first 2 hours and 13 minutes. If you're a number 2, you're listening to from 2:14 to 4:28. And number 3 is you're going to look at 428, 640. I'll check your notes and I'll check your questions. You guys are going to discuss this up come next Friday. So you guys have plenty of time. There's a lot going on next week in this class. So make sure you don't get behind. You're going to draw a 1, a 2, or a 3. Yeah.
We had 10 minutes to hang out in class.
This guy writes about the Genghis Khan and Mongols too. He does a really good job with that one as well. You guys are fascinated with that?
Coffee like that.
Yeah. Guess as I'm loading this up here real quick. Let me turn this off.
You